Welcome to today's special report. Today's report title: Let's start today's special report. On January 26, 2026, a roundtable meeting was organized at the Center for Policy Dialogue (CPD) office located in Dhanmandi, Dhaka. The organizers are CPD and the Daily Star. The title of the discussion is Advancing Indigenous Rights in the Chittagong Hill Tracts: Progress, Challenges, and Political Commitments. The question is, why is there a sudden need for this meeting on such a sensitive and directly related issue to national security just before the national elections? Present at this meeting were Chittagong Hill Tracts Affairs Advisor Supradeep Chakma, CPD Executive Director Fahmida Khatun, the Daily Star's Foreign Mission in Charge Tanzeem Firdaus, Bangladesh Indigenous Youth Forum International Editor Satej Chakma, Kapang Foundation Executive Director Pallav Chakma, TIB Executive Director Dr. Iftikharuzzaman, Barrister Sara Hussain, and most importantly, the ambassadors of Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. Such active participation of foreign diplomats in an internal, constitutional, and security-sensitive issue of Bangladesh naturally makes the matter more complex and worrisome. The speakers at the meeting presented the recognition of the small ethnic groups of the Chittagong Hill Tracts and Plains as the so-called indigenous peoples as a prerequisite for democracy, human rights, and sustainable peace. Land dispute resolution, giving so-called real powers to the regional and district councils, rehabilitation of displaced persons, and security of tribal women and girls were highlighted as rights-based issues. But here, the biggest question arises. The so-called indigenous peoples do not exist in the Constitution of Bangladesh and the Chittagong Hill Tracts Peace Accord of 1997. The 15th Amendment to the Constitution clearly states that the communities living in Bangladesh shall be referred to as tribes, small ethnic groups, or ethnic groups. The government notification also has clear instructions not to use the word indigenous in the media and textbooks. Therefore, this choice of words is not just an opinion, it is directly against the Constitution, which so-called institutions like the Daily Star and CPD are constantly trying to violate. In addition to this, the reality is that there have been allegations of illegal occupation of government khas land, VCF, and reserved forest land in various parts of the country, including the Chittagong Hill Tracts, Bhawalgarh, Mauchak, Madhupur and Ghatail in Gazipur, Rangpur Sugar Mill area in Gaibandha, Maulavi Bazar and other areas for a long time. Serious questions have been raised about the role of some NGOs and grassroots organizations funded by domestic and foreign funds behind this occupation and expansion of dominance. Several organizations like Kapang Foundation, Adivasi Youth Forum, SED, Caritas and others have been accused of using ordinary people of small ethnic groups as political tools under the guise of human rights, including religious conversions, incitement on land issues, and spreading anti-state narratives. However, this reality was almost completely absent from the discussion. In light of the Hill Tracts Accord, Santu Larma took over the chairman of the Chittagong Hill Tracts Regional Council on May 12, 1999. Almost 27 years have passed since then. During this long period, even though the government allocated thousands of crores of taka every year, the Hill people did not feel the presence of any effective regional council. This council was practically invisible in every crisis, such as riots, floods, and landslides. Since it is run under an unelected and unchanged structure, accountability and transparency are extremely questionable today. However, the discussion is about giving more power to this failed structure. And the biggest threat to the security of women and ordinary people in the hills is the armed activities of armed separatist groups, which is almost not mentioned in the discussion. Through extortion, kidnapping, killing, and violence, these groups have terrorized both the Hill and Bengali communities in broad daylight. Questioning the role of the security forces while hiding this reality, in a way, encourages terrorism. The most serious question arises here. How did Supradeep Chakma, as an advisor to the interim government, participate in such an unconstitutional and controversial platform? just before the national elections, when his government has no legitimate political mandate other than to conduct the upcoming national elections in a fair manner, how did he legitimize a platform to create policy and diplomatic pressure on the future government? This meeting is not just a dialogue, it is a well-planned narrative setting through which an attempt is being made to give international recognition to the anti-state and separatist narrative. The Chittagong Hill Tracts are an integral part of Bangladesh. It is the responsibility of the state to ensure its development, peace and dignity. But it must be within the framework of the Constitution while maintaining national security and sovereignty, and through a government elected by the people. Not through any foreign ambassador, international NGO, or controversial media platform. The real truth of this incident is that state sovereignty cannot be a topic of any roundtable discussion. That's it for today. See you again in the next episode.